Brought to you by Staples Stores. NLCS game number 6. D-backs have a 3-1 lead in the bottom of the second inning. Philly has a 3-2 series lead, or one win away from a World Series. ALCS game 7 tonight between the Astros and the Rangers. 5 p.m. first pitch there. Monday Night Football tonight, 5:15 kickoff in Minnesota between the Niners and the Vikings. Christian McCaffrey will play tonight for the 49ers. $10 says your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. Now, when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next Staples purchase of $30 or more. Exclusions do apply. Staples, your new favorite place for amazing Amazon returns.
All the latest news and analysis. Now here's Jon and Jim and NBC7's Darnay Trip.
San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is Monday afternoon. Darnay Trip with us. NBC7 Sports Wrap continues. By the way, Annie Heilbrunn from the UT. She will join the show coming up at 5 p.m. Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation. They had an announcement today with San Diego State. He's going to join us coming up at 4:30. Jon and Jim with you for the next 3 hours. I wish there were things to discuss.
No,
but it's very, like we're just grasping.
Boring weekend.
It's one of those days where you're just grasping. Like, do you want to talk about the NBA starting tomorrow?
Do you have any ideas, Darnay? I mean,
you got NBA, you got NFL Monday Night Football. Maybe some people want to talk Astros Rangers.
You want to have a segment on like the Michigan cheating scandal?
We could do the Michigan cheating scandal off the top. Or if you wanted, we could talk about what's going on with the San Diego Padres.
What's happening?
We could do that with this about face, so to speak. And I know Darnay was just talking about it. But it is a bit of an about face for AJ Preller, is it not? I mean, a couple of days after the season, he said Bob Melvin's going to be back. Nothing to see here. All is fine. I'm paraphrasing. And we fast forward a couple of weeks. And Bob Melvin, I know Darren's been talking about it. Bob Melvin's gone. There's no, you can't walk this back. You can't put this genie back in the bottle, whatever you want to say. And Jim will start here with you and then get Darnay's continuous reaction. But like, this is done.
Mm-hmm.
The optics of it are even worse for AJ Preller. You had bad optics everywhere based on this season.
Yeah.
And now you're coming off a year in which you went 82-80. You said, yeah, the manager's going to be back. All is fine. And now the manager is leaving and you granted that permission. So you're cool with it too. So bad optics all around. Bob Melvin on his way out. And where do the Padres go from here?
I feel like anybody that is truly surprised by this, like, oh my gosh, Bob Melvin is interviewing with the Giants? And they didn't, I don't know, read reports and read the tea leaves and listen to Bob postgame complain about roster construction and see Matt Carpenter on this team, but he hasn't played in a month, and the uses of Josh Hader and things that were said publicly. It just, that's on you. That's 100% on you. I am not shocked by any of this. There's a little surprise, a little shockness to it because it's actually happening. But the overall census is like, not surprised at all. Like, oh my gosh, they were disingenuous. No way. This team lies to you. This team doesn't tell you the truth. Shocking. It's not. This was almost, I feel like, 100% going to happen no matter what at the end of the season. Now, when we finally see it in paper and we see it on writing, we see it's been reported, and it's unfortunate. And it falls on, well, who do you blame for this? Because for me, you know who I blame. You know who I think wears the most of the blame here. Not saying Bob is not blameless in this thing at all, because he absolutely is. But man, what a horrible look for AJ Preller and this organization.
Darnay, what do you have to say about this Michigan scandal?
And give me an update on the Dolphins O-line too.
Yes, no. I mean, what do you think?
Hey, we can talk Dolphins birds if you want.
No, we don't need to. I mean, I know you've been talking about it with Darren, but like your reaction to what's going on here between Melvin, Preller, the Padres, and where they go from here, and are you at all surprised about the way this has transpired over the last 24 hours or not?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I might have been naive to think at some point that he was actually coming back. You say about face. I say face palm. I I would say from AJ Preller's standpoint, and other people have said this, man, this works out great for him because he doesn't have to be the bad guy that fires Bob Melvin.
Does it though?
On his record? Well, but I'm just saying from the standpoint of like it works out well for him because he doesn't have to fire Bob Melvin. It's Bob Melvin making the decision. So Bob Melvin's going to take some of the bad press that comes with that. So it's easy for AJ Preller, who probably wanted a new manager, to be like, okay, you're leaving. Now I get to kind of do my thing. The flip side of that is if you did believe anything that these people have to say, all that's worn off now because he said what he said on the Zoom call. Everything is fine. This is all overblown. The reports are overblown. We had a normal conversation with Bob. We're good. We talk 4 to 5 times a day. Clearly, that's not the case. One last thing. We're all in the content business, right? Bob Melvin, sure, can't come back from this. But it would be spectacular content.
Stop it.
I'm listening.
If he just said maybe one thing to Farhan Zaidi and whoever he's interviewing with that makes him think, oh, I don't know. And they're like, we're going to go a different direction. Phenomenal content. And so I'm here for that because why not? It's chaos. It's mayhem at this point. What difference does any of it make? Anyways, Bob Melvin doesn't seem long for this franchise in one way, shape, or form. You're 100% right. To steal a line from one of my favorite movies, Pineapple Express, can't put the monkey back in the bottle or the monkey's out of the bottle. You're probably not, turning around it for Bob Melvin, but part of me would be fascinated to see what would happen if the Giants were like, actually, Bob Melvin isn't the guy we were hoping for. Why don't you go back to the Padres? What would happen then?
If that
There's no
happens,
way.
I will drive to Philadelphia by myself. I will pick you up both, Arita's Ice, and I'll come back to San Diego, and I will deliver that to you. If Bob Melvin, there's a about face here, and he returns next season.
First of all, it's not going to happen. And by the way, if the Giants said no to Melvin, he would find another spot or he would take a year off before he came back to San Diego. And they're not saying no to him. This is one of those, it takes 2 to tango. You're only interviewing Bob Melvin if Melvin is ticketed for the position. This is one of those things that goes on behind the scenes, and it's not happening unless Melvin knows he's taking the job. And if he wouldn't do it otherwise. There's also this, and it's been widely discussed. This isn't some secret, but the fact that you lost Bochy to San Francisco, and now history is repeating itself like a decade plus later, and you look at like literally Major League Baseball history changed when Bochy went to San Francisco and won 3 World Series in 5 years. And I'm not saying we're in that spot, and all of a sudden the Giants are going to win all these World Series, and Bob Melvin's going to be at the helm of that. But man, isn't that even a worse look? Like you've already had this play out with a division rival before, and it was like the worst possible scenario for the Padres. And now here you are, however many more years later, and you're going to lose your manager again under contract to the San Francisco Giants. Do we learn nothing in history? You're asking for trouble. It's like trading Juan Soto before he turns 25, Jim. You're asking for trouble with the way this is playing out.
It's a completely different regime, but yes, history tends to repeat itself in the worst ways at times. And I feel like, this is definitely a history repeating itself moment. I think we can all agree that I wanted Bob back. I think you wanted Bob back. I think you wanted Bob back, Darnay. And to have this all play out kind of like it was reported on, shocker. The reports were accurate. That just still really upsets me. That people were discrediting all of these reports and taking the side of somebody who is a known, I don't want to say liar to everybody, but he just never tells the truth. Is that fair to say? Like he rarely tells the truth. He rarely gives you any type of answer that you're maybe not looking for, but like, oh, okay. Like, is that going to truly happen? If you all of a sudden, this was the moment for you that you lost faith in Preller or thought he was disingenuous. If this was the moment, again, that's on you because that's who he has been for his entire tenure. He's not changing. This to me is a situation where if AJ was not here, Bob would not be looking to get out of this situation. So when I say, who are you blaming? Yeah, Bob has blame here, but it's AJ's fault. And then it goes up to Peter for allowing AJ to remain in this position and allowing AJ to hire another manager. So you got an owner who won't make the right decision, who won't make the move that's necessary to change this franchise, to get a guy out of here that doesn't win. And then you got a guy who's the general manager who everybody hates working with. Plain and simple.
This is an oversimplification, and the world doesn't necessarily work this way. But if you could keep Bob Melvin in place and clear out the front office, or keep AJ Preller in place and allow him to have his pick of the litter, which is seemingly, the road that we're going down, which of those two feels more stable to you? Feels like it would be the healthier situation where, something weird, bizarre isn't going to creep up in 2 years from now. Now, we don't only know so much about Bob Melvin. We know he was in Oakland for a long time and things seemed fine there. But it makes me think, like, when you're in a situation like this, again, oversimplification, if you have one guy in place, remove the other guy in place, remove the other, which do you think is the more stable situation?
The more stable situation is changing the general manager, who has more of a determination whether a team wins or loses at the end of the day. Not to say a manager doesn't have value, but a general manager's role is more significant. And we could argue this, but in my opinion, a general manager's role is more significant than a manager's. Now, what I would do after all of this is such a bad look for Preller specifically, and you could argue Seidler. This is such a bad look. Now that Melvin's out the door, just blow this thing up. This is the time where you can bring in your general manager who's got a manager, and you can change this completely overnight. They're not going to do that, but it's like, you just said the manager was coming back, and that was on you. You could have extended him. Darn it, we know if they really wanted Bob Melvin back, why wouldn't they just extend him? If he gets an extension, he's not looking elsewhere and nobody's calling. But they didn't give him an extension because they didn't want him back. And I don't know if that's Seidler, but it's certainly on Preller. But now that Melvin walks out the door, it's just as bad of a look on Preller. And this is the time where if I'm Peter Seidler, I don't think he's going to do this, but if I was in charge, and there's a good reason why I'm not, maybe I'd screw this up. But now that Melvin's out the door, you can get that clean break that everyone's been asking for. Go hire a GM. Let the GM hire a manager and take this organization on a new direction, because this is just another bad look, in my opinion, for AJ Preller.
When you just think that, nothing else could go wrong, then something else goes wrong. when you think to yourself, okay, this is the last straw for Preller, it's not. Like, how many opportunities is he going to continue to get? Like, we've talked about this a lot, Darnay.
It's like a cat.
What is the straw that breaks the camel's back? Like, what is that definitive
That's
moment?
A great question.
That it's like, okay, this is enough. Is it losing another manager that you had a relationship deteriorate over the course of a year? Is it hiring your fifth manager or fourth manager, whatever the case may be? Is it not winning a division title? Is it not winning a World Series? Is it not even appearing in a World Series? Like, what is the moment for this franchise, and in particular, Peter Seidler, who is going to have to make this call that says enough's enough? Like, what's that moment? Because if this isn't it, what is?
It's a picture of AJ on vacation leaking with him wearing like a Dodgers t-shirt. No, that's what it would take.
What vacation?
He doesn't go on vacation.
That's true. I think, it is interesting how you would think all of this, the way the dominoes have fallen, just empowers AJ Preller. After everything that's been written, after everything that's played out, he comes, it really does feel like an episode of Succession. And, this is one of those plot twists where you're like, okay, now suddenly Shiv is in the kind of more powerful position. It seems to always go back to AJ Preller. And that's why, and I said this to Darren, like, I'm at a point where it's just like, just go full AJ Preller, go all in on the AJ Preller.
Haven't they done that?
We've done that.
But I mean, even more so, because if it didn't work with Jay Stingler, like if it's Ryan Flaherty, find like the most AJ Preller guy, the most AJ Preller coaching staff.
Are you saying to either sink or swim?
To sink or swim.
Yeah.
And just so there's no there's no doubt that this was his vision. You went for it and it worked and they won a World Series, or it was a failure and it's time to move on. But I don't want any gray area of, well, Melvin wasn't his guy, or he had some disagreements with Jay Stingler or anything like that. And if those disagreements pop up again, like they have in the past, maybe that should be your indication. But I'd almost want them, and I don't think that they would ever do this, but just to be like, we are going down the AJ Preller vision, and we feel he is excellence. We're handing him the keys. We want him to put his thumbprint on this organization and follow his vision and live and die with that. And I just feel like that might ultimately, to answer your question, that might be what it takes, because it seems like there's always enough doubt and enough blame that you could maybe shift somewhere else to keep him from being the one that ultimately falls on the sword.
Melvin wasn't his guy. Now, I know you're not saying that, but this idea that, he hired Andy Green and Jace Tingler, and he had Bob Melvin fall into his lap. He's so fortunate that Bob Melvin had never come across AJ Preller in his career. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, Melvin doesn't take the job. You couldn't make it work with an accomplished, seasoned, reputable manager who's brought you your only 2 winning seasons. But we're supposed to trust that you can get it right with Ryan Flaherty, your third first-time manager, because he's got a good relationship with Manny Machado. This is all Preller. And 2022, I've given him credit for it. He deserves credit for it. But it's, what have you done for me lately? 19, 21, 23 outweigh 2022. He's put his print on this organization. If he needs to do it again, you're playing with fire.
And John, real quick, John, you're right. I'm not saying you're
wrong.
No,
I know you're not saying
against that. I'm just saying, like, just to get rid of any doubt whatsoever. And 2022, give him credit for that. Off 2 weeks away from that season being a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I would tend to say that Darnay, that he's already had that opportunity, and that opportunity was Jace Tingler. They went full in with Jace Tingler. Everybody was his guys. He brought in special people because you needed to coddle Manny Machado. Mm-hmm. You had a situation where that whole dynamic, they're not even friends anymore. Like, they don't, like, I don't think they even talk anymore. I could be wrong, but today in Dennis's piece, it was like, well, that relationship's done. And they started that relationship's best buddies, one-minded. It was Preller's Tingler, Tingler's Preller. They were on the same wavelength. And just 2 years later, disaster. So
I guess the one difference
what's changing?
Is they've worked together. Like, he and Flaherty have been in the building together for however many years it is now. Obviously, he worked with Jace Tingler, but then there had been some distance and some time apart. And so I guess that's where Ryan Flaherty could be, and you can make the argument Mike Schilt, even more cohesive with AJ Preller, because they've in essence been doing this together. Mm-hmm. It's just, they would be in a different position now for those guys.
Guys, he hired, correct me if I'm wrong, he hired Jace Tingler over Ron Washington.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, just think about someone like, are you really trusting AJ Preller to go get this right? He hired, no, with all due respect to Andy Green, he wasn't asked to really win at a high level. I think Andy Green did fine. Jace Tingler had some success as well, to be honest. But I mean, what are we looking for? He's going to go find a manager, John, that's better suited to win than Bob Melvin?
The thing here, and I 100% agree with you. Right. I think a lot of people agree with you. I think a lot of people are agreeing, like, enough's enough. One man
I know, you're right.
is frankly, it feels like stubborn right now, to the point of, no, I believe in him no matter what. He is excellence to me. Look at all the talent that he's brought in this organization. I believe in and trust in AJ Preller. Now, it's unfortunate that right now we're not hearing anything from Peter Seidler, because he has much more important things on his plate, like getting healthy.
And that's fair.
That's completely fair. But also, it seems like he's still running the ship here. He's still making the calls. He's still making the decisions. And it's one person. We all know. And we can talk to her blue in the face, which we're going to do, about how AJ Preller is a massive problem, and removing him is the first step into turning this franchise into a competent one. But it's on Peter now. And if Peter's not going to make the call, then unfortunately we're going to have to just take it, and there's nothing we can do.
Jim is already blue in the face. And
I
to
am.
use that phrase again, the monkey is out of the bottle from that standpoint, because you can't show your or express your faith in the leadership team and then say we're going forward with these guys. Then when Melvin leaves, I don't think you can say, okay, AJ, this is on you. I'm not going to trust you again. Like, he's already put his trust in him going forward. And so now, like, the opportunity for Peter Seidler to have that hard conversation and to make that difficult decision would have been, what was it, October 2nd, the day after the season ended. Now that you've gone this far down the road with AJ Preller and Melvin a chance to go forward, I would find it that I would be surprised by Peter Seidler coming out and saying, now that Melvin's gone, we need to change a direction at the top. I just think we're going to go forward with this, and then what comes of it a year or two down the road will determine AJ Preller's future.
Now, back to that Michigan scandal that we were talking about. All right, Darnay, tonight, how can people watch this back? NBC7 Sports Wrap for our listeners that are listening right now. How can they watch this back?
Yeah, NBC San Diego Roku channel, Roku Live TV. It'll be on at 9:00 Monday evening, and that's the case every week. So if you don't catch it on the radio, chance to watch us in the evening, Monday nights, 9:00.
Darnay Tripp, thanks for putting up with us, man.
It's like deja vu.
Appreciate it,
guys.
All right, on the other side, should AJ get the chance to make this hire again? Plus,
spoiler alert.
Plus, San Diego State picking up the pieces off a crushing loss against the University of Nevada. That's next. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. It was 3 weeks ago or less than 3 weeks ago. AJ Preller said Bob Melvin was coming back. Where do the Padres go from here? And what's next for the Aztecs after losing to winless Nevada on Saturday? That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. NLCS game number 6. D-backs have a 3-1 lead over the Phillies heading to the bottom of the 4th inning there. Phillies are 1 win away from heading back to the World Series. And tonight, game 7 in the ALCS between the Rangers and the Astros. 5:03 first pitch there in Houston. And Monday Night Football tonight, 5:15 kickoff between the Vikings and the 49ers in Minnesota. Christian McCaffrey is expected to play for the 49ers. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
Andy Heilbrunn will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We'll tell you about today's giveaway coming up on the show as well. Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation. We're going to be out at an event on Thursday, by the way. University Club, downtown San Diego. There's an event going on, a private event for San Diego State to receive some Final Four rings. I think maybe Mountain West Championship rings. We will be there Thursday, so we'll be talking to San Diego State basketball players coming up on Thursday. Anyway, Jeff Smith from the Mesa Foundation, he will join us coming up at 4:30. So it wasn't long ago that AJ Preller spoke with the media at the end of the season and definitively said Bob Melvin was returning. If you missed it, this is exactly what he said.
Yeah, Bob is our manager, and it's going to be our manager going forward. I think both he and I. A lot's been said obviously in the last few weeks, but both he and I are very excited. About the challenge of getting this group back to the postseason next year. We've had it. Again, I think from that standpoint, a lot's been said, and I think with Bob and myself, I think we just even in the last couple days, you get a chance to recap and look at some different things, and both of us feel really good about where things are at going forward.
How embarrassing and horrible of a look that does that sound now? Right now?
Well, yeah, right.
How bad does that sound right now in retrospect? In
If
hindsight?
Bob was that excited, if you were that excited, would you grant the interview? And if Bob was that excited, would he leave for San Francisco?
No.
So apparently he's more excited to go manage the Giants, and you're more excited to go hire someone else because you granted the interview.
Or is he more excited to just like get away from Preller? Because when you look at both of these teams, the Giants and the Padres, it's hard to argue the Giants have more talent than the Padres at the top. The Padres, Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., Juan Soto while he's still here, Musgrove, Darvish, Hassan Kim, right? You could argue those players I just named right there are better than anybody the Giants have on their active roster currently at this moment. The thing is, this Padres roster, albeit has more talent than the Giants, is incredibly flawed, incredibly incomplete. The depth is non-existent. And you're like, wait a second. Why is he going to the Giants again? It can't be because of talent, because that's not a good argument when you look at the Padres' talent. Is it because the Giants maybe have better depth than the Padres? You could argue that, but I don't know if that's a reason to leave the Padres. Why he's leaving is so clear, and it's so simple. It's because of AJ. It's because of him. If AJ's not here and Bob was the manager, this is not happening. It's not about the talent. It's not about the rosters. Now, you could argue that maybe the rosters, and by the rosters play a factor in it, is that it's just kind of impossible to manage a guy like Manny Machado. It's kind of impossible to manage a guy like maybe Juan Soto. It's just doesn't want to deal with that anymore. But I think the main root and the main cause of it, it's so easy to see. It's in clear sight. It's AJ.
By the way, we'd love to hear from you, 844-570-1360 if you want to weigh in. I would say this too, Jim, that even with the differences, that if the Padres in good faith went to Bob Melvin at some point, first of all, how do you not do it off the NLCS? How do you not extend Bob Melvin off the NLCS? They elected not to do that.
That was sign one that it was
okay. So, and then you don't extend them. So the Padres' intentions are clear. They did not extend Bob Melvin. Therefore, they're basically opening up this possibility for everyone else to get involved. If you're Bob Melvin, look at it from this perspective too. You got one guaranteed year, but you go somewhere else and get 3 guaranteed years. So you got $4 million here, but you got $12 million guaranteed in San Francisco or more. So, you could compare rosters and that's fair. The truth is San Francisco had the exact same season
pretty much
as San Diego. In fact, they were in front of the Padres in the standings for most of the year until late in September. So, and by the way, it's going to be tough to win a World Series wherever you are.
Yeah.
It's never going to be easy to win a World Series. So I don't know if it's about winning a World Series as much as you get more security, you get away from AJ, and maybe this is a roster that is flat out difficult to manage based on everything we saw over the course of the last year.
So you know what's a good idea? Hire another first-time manager.
And see if he can figure it out.
Yeah, see if you can figure it out.
And again, the Ryan Flaherty thing, just because he has a relationship with Manny Machado, that alone is not a reason to hire someone as your next manager. I mean, that's going out that's a leap of faith. It's a real leap of faith to go hire another first-time manager just because of his relationship with Manny Machado. Let's go to the phones. 844-570-1360. Let's start with Vito on line 1. Vito, thanks for your patience. Thanks for calling in to Jon and Jim.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. I just, as I've been a Padre fan for 30 years, probably more than that. And I just know how this situation is going to play out. Bob Melvin's going to go to San Francisco. He's going to end up having a whole lot of success. We're going to have a new manager. If it's Ryan Flaherty or Mike Schilt, he's only going to be here for 2 years, and then they're going to let him go because of conflict. I just think at this point, this, like you said, Jon, this is the out. This is the out now for them to get out under AJ Preller. We've seen the results now for 9 years. There's been very little to no success. And reflecting on something that Darnay said, that, go full AJ, let him pick his guy. We've seen that 2 times already with Tingler and Green. He's picked his guys, and they've had falling outs too. This needs to change. Like, Peter needs to come to his senses and fire AJ. It's completely asinine to allow him to hire another manager. All right, guys, that's all I got.
Thank you, Vito.
Great call, Vito. Thanks, man.
And Jim, we've talked about, it is only October. Like, if you're having second thoughts, It's not February. You have a full offseason. You have other teams going through the same process.
Second thoughts where? Oh, firing AJ.
Saying, yeah, if you're Peter and you're
yeah.
having second thoughts about the direction of your organization,
Yeah.
you've got Kim Ng out there and others,
Mm-hmm.
and you're thinking, you know what? I can't even go get a manager I want because of AJ, but if I go bring in a different GM, not only do I get a new direction, I also get the manager I want. I mean, if you're having second thoughts, it's only October.
As I said, what is going to be that aha moment for Peter? What is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back? What's going to be the moment of like, enough's enough? If this isn't it, where your organization is straight out dysfunctional, it is a circus over there. You guys look like the laughing stock of baseball. You guys are a joke. Anything else I can say? I probably could go on for more longer. But if this isn't going to be the moment for Peter to come to his senses and realize enough's enough, I really don't know what is, other than his contract runs out, and so he whatever leaves. I don't know.
That's 3 full seasons away.
I know.
Right, let's go back to the phones. 844-570-1360. Dave, thanks for your patience. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Well, thanks again. So, Jim, Peter is in a deep state of denial. Unfortunately, good man, no question about that. That's not the issue. The issue is his baseball sensibilities, which, frankly, he's put himself up for criticism now. Now, having said that, I called this shot back in the mid-baseball season, right after the Nationals re-upped Davey Martinez. I said, gee, isn't that interesting that the Nationals would extend Davey Martinez of the Nationals, and yet they're quiet on Bob Melvin, and then it continued on from there. So as you said, this is the perfect escape for AJ, and I called that too, because you could see the minute the San Francisco job opened up, AJ was probably dancing on top of his desk because it gets him off the hook, doesn't it?
Well,
so here we go, guys. It's what's going to take. It's going to take a losing season. It's going to take a whole lot less butts in the seats if you want the God's honest truth.
Thanks for the call, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
You said this last night. It was a great point. It didn't matter who the manager was. It could have been like, give me some random person. It could have been Matt Williams. It could have been Ryan Flaherty. It could have been whoever. The fact that you at the end of this season said that your manager is returning, and then 2 weeks later, he's essentially gone because he can't work with you anymore. That's a horrible look on you. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter who the name of the person is. The fact that you went out on record and you said he's returning, and Bob's like, I'm returning, even though Bob said it because he's still under contract. Of course, he's going to say that. But AJ in particular, and discrediting these reports and saying that we don't take any credence to anonymous sources, which is BS, then that's a horrible look on you. It doesn't matter who the manager was.
I agree, because I said it. I mean, and thinking about it, there's so many tentacles to this story that we're going to continue to discuss on the other side. Let's do that. We're going to do Is That Good? Let's continue this conversation. We're going to talk about San Diego State as well. On the other side, we want to hear from you. Is now the time, now that Melvin is out, is now the time for wholesale changes in the front office made by Peter Seidler? 844-570-1360, 70470. Start your message with team. Annie Heilbrunn will join us coming up at 5 p.m. There's so much to get to today. Do not go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. All right, continued reaction with the Padres and the Aztecs. Plus, Annie Heilbrunn will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Stay with us. All right, coming up today, Trainwreck Radio, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Vets Aid. This is at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater November 12th. Make sure you're there as Joe Walsh presents an all-star lineup with Jeff Lynn's ELO, The War on Drugs, The Flaming Lips, and special guest Steven Stills and more. More information and tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Keep listening. Again, for your chance to win, we'll give those away coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. So with all this discussion about Bob Melvin's future, this was a bit of a bombshell yesterday from Dennis Lynn and Andrew Baggerly. I mean, we weren't necessarily just awaiting this to come out yesterday, although the writing was on the wall. We talked about it Friday.
Yeah. Friday was the get ready moment.
I didn't know we were going to get it Sunday, but yeah, it could have been expected. But I wasn't expecting it when I was at a 4-year-old's birthday party at Rock and Jump, but that's when I got it.
I didn't expect it that soon.
Right. So
I expected it, but I didn't expect that soon.
Right. So it sounds as if Melvin's out the door. So we spent a lot of time on that. And we also go back to Saturday night where we had said going into Saturday for San Diego State, the Aztecs are in a must-win spot against the University of Nevada. We had said that going into the game. They had to beat Nevada. Wolfpack were winless coming in. San Diego State was 3-4, and you're at home against a winless team. There was only one option. If you were going to make a bowl game, you had to beat Nevada. And it wasn't just that they lost the game, although I think no matter what happened, if they lost the game, it would not have gone well. Mm-hmm. But the manner in which they did, where they didn't score, it's the first time San Diego State didn't score at home. Did you see this?
Yeah.
Derek Togerson had it?
1976, yeah.
I couldn't believe that. Mm-hmm. So it's the first time they didn't score at home since 1976. They had 200 yards of total offense against a team that was allowing 500 yards
Less
against.
than that.
They had 204.
At 204,
they had like
160.
204 yards.
It doesn't matter. It's still bad.
Right. Against a team that was allowing 510. I think the most yards allowed in FBS or second most yards allowed in FBS. And it's like, how do you pick up the pieces after that? You had to win the game. You were at home and you couldn't do it. And I understand. Aztec fans are frustrated, understandably, based on what happened Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium.
That was about as bad of a loss as you could have with all things considered. An 0-6 team who gives up 40 points a game, who comes into your house and not only shuts you out, but in the way that it happened, they won 6-0. That was embarrassing. That was flat out embarrassing. I don't know how you can spin that. I don't know how you can view that as anything but what it was, which was a piss poor effort on all sides from everybody involved. Everybody on the sideline, everybody up in the booth, like everybody involved. That was bad. That was beyond bad. And fans have every right to be as pissed off as they are. Every fan has, if whatever they say today, it's hard to really discredit them or disagree with them for whatever their take is on this football program at this current moment in time.
What's hard about it, okay, so this is my 7th season covering Aztec football, and what's hard is this is the worst loss, obviously, over that period of time. San Diego State's been so consistently good, well before my 7 years. If you go back to when Brady got here in 2009, they went 4-8. From that point on, they've been bowl eligible every single year. A model of consistency, averaging 9+ wins. Winningest year in program history was 2 years ago. They win 12 games. So we're not used to seeing this. And, I don't really know what to say about it other than the fact that for 15 years, they've been able to basically be bowl eligible. For 15 years, they've relied on their defense. And when you get Nevada at home in a game that you have to win and you cannot win it, I understand the frustration because Aztec fans haven't seen this basically for the last 15 years.
I also think it's how they lost the game that makes it just that much worse.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you think people would have had any different feeling if it was 48-41 on
but
Saturday?
I don't think it would have been viewed how this loss is being viewed. Both are bad, obviously. Mm-hmm. Both, to me, would be considered embarrassing, losing to...
But you're saying getting shut out.
Getting shut out at home. Like the stat that Derek put out there on social media, 1976 is the last time they got shut out at home.
Right.
That's bad.
That's crazy.
And it's the question that we were asking with the Padres. What's it going to take for things to change? And I kind of have myself asking the same thing for the Aztecs. Like, is everybody okay with this? Are you okay with this as a fan? Are you okay with this? Because the program right now feels like it's going in the wrong direction. It does not feel like it's getting better. It doesn't feel like, just wait until these recruits come. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like it's getting worse and worse game by game.
Well, the difference here's what I would say from that perspective, and I'm too close to it, interviewing Brady Hoke each and every week, and my relationship with San Diego State. With all that being said, to me, it's not the same as the Padres. It's not like making an in-season change in football literally
That's not what I was saying. I was more or less saying once the dust settles, once the reevaluation process happens,
I would say
what is going to be the step forward? Because it feels like at this point in time with this program, it feels like change needs to happen because it's getting worse and worse.
I would say this, and I think this is fair. And we said this with AJ Preller in the 2023 baseball season. Judge it at the end of the year. It may be heading for the Aztecs right now are 3-5. They could be anywhere from 6-6, 7-5 to 3-9, right? If they don't win again, and by the way, the schedule is not easy.
That's fair.
They're 3-9.
That's fair. Wait till this dust settles.
Three of their last 4, so I'd say see it out, and I do think that's fair. And I think you look at Brady's body of work, and people are going to say, I'm biased, you're a homer, and that's fair. And some of it's accurate. But 12-2, 7-6 is not a reason for a coaching change. So now, I don't know what's going to happen in 2023, and I don't know what direction San Diego State ultimately goes long-term. That's not my job. But based on what Brady has done from his first run to his second run, I don't think there's any reason to be discussing change. And people were talking about change last year. I thought it was so premature. I'm like, you went 7-6 after going 12-2, and you're going to make a change for why?
Well, now
because the expectations are high. I get it. Yeah. Expectations being high is a good thing. Let's see this out, and let's see where it is at the end of the year.
And at the end of the year, if they do miss a bowl game and they're under 500, then now to me, it's okay. You've got enough here. Okay. After a 12-2 season, going 7-5, 7-6, then their year, and then now being worse, like the trajectory of the program is going in a direction that you do not want it to go, especially with a brand new stadium in place that frankly, you're not getting the type of crowd that you expect to have. You can't continue down a path of getting worse every year and expect that to be okay with the fans.
What surprised me the most actually Saturday night, because I wasn't thinking about this in game, and I don't have the sound for you right now, But Brady said post-game when asked, did he consider replacing Jalen Maiden? He said he did. But then said he's seen Jalen in those spots before. He's seen Jalen make plays down stretches, have winning drives, which he had a number of last year, including against Hawaii in his first start. But it was interesting to hear that they considered replacing Jalen Maiden in the second half last week. They're on bye this week. We'll see who starts November 4th against Utah State. I would assume Jalen, who's the veteran experienced starter, but that's a question maybe going into the next game.
If you move off of Jalen and go to who is that? I mean,
I don't know who's second even right now in the depth chart because Jalen had so much more experience coming into the year that assuming Jalen was going to be healthy, I didn't think we'd see anyone else really get playing time.
Right now, after that loss, that was probably the most, I feel like, embarrassing type of loss that you could have had in this type of fashion, with needing to win that game as badly as you did.
I think Tobin Odell
put up a goose egg. And they'll tell you that was unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's saying the same thing, honestly, that we're probably saying. His first word out of his mouth, I think, postgame was, we're disappointed. We're as disappointed as anyone. Like, that was the first thing he said. Yeah. And that they got to get more out of this offense. All right, we'll get your calls on the other side. Also, the wrap on the other side. Annie Heilbrunn from the UT will join us at 5 p.m. Her thoughts on Bob Melvin's likely departure back for the Bay Area. Hour 2 of Jon and Jim coming up next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports, NLCS game number 6 in Philadelphia. The Phillies win. They're headed to the World Series. D-backs trying to force a game 7. They currently have a 4-1 lead as we head to the top of the 6th inning in Philly. Game 7 between the Rangers and the Astros in Houston tonight. First pitch in about an hour from now. And NBA news, Giannis, this just broke moments ago, has signed a 3-year max deal to stay with the Bucks. And Monday Night Football, Vikings and 49ers in Minnesota. Christian McCaffrey is expected to play for the 49ers. Kickoffs is at 5:15. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. I forgot we're going to lose Jim for the third hour because of the Niners against the Vikings, and he won't pay attention.
Yep.
Which doesn't really change anything other than he makes it as clear as
So we're going
day.
to air quotes lose Jim,
right?
But not technically lose
right.
Jim.
Like mentally, my mental capacity will be completely checked out.
Which is fine because that's
at least I'm honest.
Pretty typical.
At least I don't say I'm paying attention. Like
me.
It will be very rough.
It's Niners Vikings week 7. They're going to win. Can't you just do the show?
Look what Jon just did there. The ultimate jinx.
can't you? Well, because I don't care. But can't you just like do the show? What's going to happen? What's the worst thing that happens?
Jon,
lose?
Jon, I'm going to do the show.
You're going to do the show?
Okay.
I watched last time. You were sitting there on Amazon.
Don't worry.
Not paying attention to anything.
I did the show. I'll do the show.
No, you really didn't do the show last time, to be honest. Keep listening for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Vets Aid concert at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater November 12th. Tickets available at livenation.com. All right, Phillies, Diamondbacks underway. Diamondbacks in the 6th inning, a 4-1 lead, as Jim just said. So we might get a game 7 tomorrow night in Philadelphia. We get a game 7 tonight, obviously, between the Astros and the Rangers.
Yeah.
So the first 2 rounds weren't overly compelling of the postseason. We're getting good, deep, long series, Jim.
Yeah.
In the Major League postseason right now.
Deep, long.
Yeah.
Deep and long postseason series.
That's what we're getting.
How you doing?
All right,
did you realize what you were saying when you said it?
Not really until I started saying it. Andy Heilbrun's going to join us coming up at 5 p.m. We have Trainwreck Radio this hour. Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation. They announced an official partnership with San Diego State earlier today, becoming the first collective of San Diego State. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. But right now, let's get to this.
Do you think San Diego State can still reach a bowl game?
Unfortunately, I don't, because I don't think their schedule plays pretty favorably to them. Colorado State, going to be difficult. Fresno State, don't really see them even sniffing a win there. Utah State's not going to be easy either. And San Jose State, I mean, they got 4 games. They're going to be tough games for them because the Aztecs are not a good football team. So when you're not a good football team, every game is difficult for you. So to have to go to 3-1 over their final 4 games to make a bowl, I don't see it happening. And unfortunately, the 13-year streak of making a bowl game, I feel like it's going to end this year. And that's beyond disappointing.
Yeah, so far, we went into this Nevada game saying San Diego State as a favorite was 3-0, as a dog was 0-4, but then they lost as a favorite on Saturday. You look at the next 4 games, there'll be a dog in 3 of them. That would be Colorado State, San Jose State, Fresno State. I don't know about Utah State at home. I think it'll be a toss-up type game. But, I mean, they're on the outside looking in. They obviously have to beat Utah State, and then you can have the conversation again. But it won't be easy, to your point, because of the schedule. Still 2 road games. You have to win 2 games at least. Yeah. No, excuse me, 3 games at least to get to a bowl game.
You couldn't afford to lose to Nevada, and then you got shut out and embarrassed at home. It's not shaping up to be a good season.
Next question.
What's the legacy of the now defunct San Diego Loyal?
I think that the legacy of them is that they were like San Diego to the core.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they did was San Diego. like to getting the person who designed their logo San Diego based, the owner of the team San Diego based, everything they tried to do and that they accomplished, I feel like was so San Diego centric, and they really drove that home that I don't know if you're going to see from the MLS club. And that's what sucks, is because that's what soccer's about. And San Diego Loyal did that. And that's how they will be remembered to me, is that they were San Diego to the core.
Yeah, I think they were successful, and even more successful. You consider the headwinds of pandemic and then Major League Soccer coming to San Diego. I mean, they're 4 years, 2020, there weren't fans for most of it, I assume.
There were
because
fans
of the pandemic.
I went to the first ever Loyal match, and that was I think, only match that had fans that year.
All right, so you had that. And then by the end of it, and you had the pandemic for parts of the additional years.
2021.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you have, the headwinds of Major League Soccer coming here. So I thought they did well considering what they were up against. And it's tough, man. Professional sports outside the very high levels, even at the highest levels, can be tough. Look at the Padres. They might be cutting payroll in 2024. So it's a challenge. But did they pave the way for the NWSL, like the San Diego Wave, or Major League Soccer, like San Diego FC? You could certainly argue that.
Yeah,
they played a role.
When you want a team to ingratiate itself into the community and do everything possible to be San Diego centric through and through, that's what they did.
How did you just use the word ingratiate?
I don't know.
I didn't think so. Next question.
You blacked out, didn't you?
I completely did. I was like, what's
Do you know what it means?
Nope.
Bring oneself into favor with someone by flattering or trying to please them. Yeah, you used it right.
Yes.
Next question.
Mark that one down.
College, baby.
Is there any chance Jim's Niners lose to the lowly Vikings tonight on Monday Night Football?
Yes, there is. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday, in this case, any given Monday, anybody could lose at any time. The Niners are without Trent Williams tonight, without Deebo Samuel. We'll see how
favored by 7.
How hurt Christian McCaffrey really is. Should they win tonight? Yes, they should win tonight. But would it be this shock if they lost? No, because it's the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. You're on the road. And by the way, the Vikings have a lot to play for because they're 2-4.
Yeah.
So this is the game for Minnesota that turns your season. You get to 3-4, you're in fine shape with an expanded postseason. 2-5 is tough to dig out of. So it's like Minnesota, you're playing for your season a little bit in week 7, where the Niners, to your point, are playing without some of the regulars in the game. They don't have to have. Niners will win. Hopefully it's a competitive game. I mean, just for football viewers, hopefully it's a good game tonight. And hopefully for Jim, the Niners win. Hopefully for everyone else, the Vikings win.
Hopefully for Aaron, the Niners win.
True.
She's the most important
person. So if they lose, what does this mean for Aaron?
I'll just be silent for an hour. And I just won't talk.
Next question.
So she'll probably be in favor of that then.
No, because she actually kind of likes hanging out with me. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but she does.
That's super weird.
So, yeah.
Next question.
All right. Here's $1 million question. Who should be the next manager of the San Diego Padres?
Who should be or who's going to be? Because I think who should be the next manager?
Both.
I think it's going to be either a Ryan Flaherty or Mike Schilt. I'll take Mike Schilt. I'll take Mike Schilt because as much pie as AJ Preller has on his face for this, to hire another first-time manager would be just a horrible look. So he's got to try to hire somebody with some experience, and he's already in the organization, and Mike Schilt's already been viewed as a potential top candidate. I'll take Mike Schilt.
I agree. I know Kevin reported today that Mike Schilt was the front runner for the job, not Ryan Flaherty. So I agree on Schilt. I will say this, for the betterment of the organization, open up the interview process. Go where you want with the hire, but do not interview only Mike Schilt and Ryan Flaherty. Open up the interview process, make this legitimate, and see if you can actually get the best manager for the job. I know that's crazy, but see if you can find the best manager for the job. I think it's what Padres fans deserve based on their support of this franchise. I think it's what Peter Seidler, by the way, deserves based on his spending with this franchise. They have to get it right. We said it 2 years ago. They kind of did. with Bob Melvin based on 2022, but here we are back again in 2024 where they can't whiff on this.
To your point, who in their right mind would look at this situation from afar and outside the organization and think to themselves, I want to be a part of that?
Good point.
Now, it is, being a baseball manager, there's only 30 of them. So it's like kind of,
it's good.
It's good.
Like
Hey,
you said, the
you wanna
roster has talent.
Hey, you want to be a manager of a baseball club? Like it's your dream? Like, absolutely.
But this isn't Oakland. I mean, this isn't the worst job in baseball. It's just not the best.
But again, it's not like AJ Preller has done himself any favors here to make sure that people view him as a trustworthy, easy to work with, communicative type of guy, because he has none of those things, like not even close. So if going outside the organization is something they want to do, I don't know who is truly going to say, yeah, I want to work for you, AJ, if it's not a yes man first-time manager.
844-570-1360 or 70470. Start it with team. Who would you like to see manage the Padres next? 844-570-1360. Bob Melvin granted permission to interview with the Giants.
It's over. Bye-bye.
You're not coming back. You can't put the genie back in the bottle.
And I don't blame Melvin, but I also do blame Melvin for that whole thing. So it's not like, to me, good riddance to Bob. I've wanted Bob to stay, and it's extremely disappointing to me that he's gone. But I'm also not like a good riddance Bob Melvin type of mood.
No, not good riddance. No, I honestly, I don't put a lot of it on Bob Melvin.
Some people are in a good riddance
mood. If you're if you're going to die in the hill of Preller or Melvin, it's no question.
No,
I mean, there's no question. I'm not going to defend Preller till we always used to say until we're blue in the face. Why would we do that? Now, with that, I don't put it on Melvin. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's an accomplished manager that the Padres wooed over here. He gets to a National League Championship Series. They don't extend him. That's on the Padres. The Padres, let's just keep you. This is all on the Padres. This isn't on Bob Melvin. When he told the AP 3 weeks ago he was going to be back because he was under contract to return.
Yeah.
He had a 1 year deal. Let me ask our listeners right now, if you had a chance to make $60K a year or make $60K but only guaranteed for 2023 or $180K guaranteed $60K for each of the next 3 years, you would take the $180K, the guaranteed money, over the $60K. If he's got a chance to make $4 million here or $12 million over 3 years in San Francisco, who's not choosing the latter? Everyone wants the security. Everyone wants the money. That's how the world works. So he's got 1 year left on his deal. Why would he be content with that? Would you be content with 1 year left on your deal, Jim, with no assurance that you're going to be back when someone offers you 3 years somewhere else?
No,
probably not.
It just shows. Now, they didn't win this year. I know they had an 82-80 record. That's such a, they had a winning season. Give me a break. But it also shows that winning doesn't really cure all.
Mm-hmm.
If after year one and you go to the NLCS, you're already trying to get out of town because you can't deal with AJ Preller anymore. Because you're like, I can't deal with this guy. It is such a horrible work environment. It's not what I wanted to be a part of. It's not what I thought was going to be like here. I want to get out. It just proves that, hey, winning does not cure all. Because if you hate, not hate somebody, it's a strong word. If you don't have a good working relationship with that person and every day is a chore to come work with that person, then you're going to, no matter what, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, dude. I'm done. I can't, the stress on me dealing with you every day is too much. It doesn't matter if we win. I can't deal with you anymore. And that's how Bob, I think, is at this moment. And that's why he'll be the new manager of the San Francisco Giants in either the next week or maybe less.
Yeah, I mean, the issue is when you think about how to win at the highest level, any type of strife prevents you from doing that. You would like to think that the best chance to win is all parties aligned.
Mm-hmm.
Front office, clubhouse, coaching staff, including manager, to the players. That's the ideal situation. Does it guarantee you win a World Series? Of course not. But is it preferable to the opposite, where you don't have people seeing eye to eye? I think you can win potentially either way, but the Padres cannot. The Padres have proven that to be in a position where they can win at the highest of levels, they're going to need people pulling in the same direction. And this whole Manny Machado, well, what is this, high school baseball or college baseball?
Culture,
Who really cares about culture?
Right.
To what's going on with Bob Melvin and AJ Preller. It just speaks to the larger issues at hand, which is like, you're not just trying to get better. You're trying to win a World Series, yet you're in a spot where your GM and manager don't get along. Is that the best way to attack winning a World Series? I would say no.
I'd be curious to know, and we never will, but I'd be curious to know how much the clubhouse dynamic played a factor into this as well. Like with Manny Machado and Juan Soto and Xander in the fold and, Tatis back. And I would be curious. I would love to know how much the dysfunction and lack of leadership from your top guys in that clubhouse played a role in Bob Melvin saying, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
I mean, what you're basically saying now, I'm saying this isn't the case because he's taken the security of San Francisco over the instability of San Diego. But what you're basically saying, by the way, when you get here opening night, when the Giants are here opening day,
oh my God,
literally here opening day, what you're saying to the players in the opposite dugout when you're Bob Melvin is I don't trust in your ability to win.
I don't believe in you.
I'm not on you. I'm not in your corner. Like I could have been in your corner. I elected not to be in your corner. That's how it'll be spun
and viewed.
And I do understand that. By the way, the National League West has what? Bob Melvin in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Buddy Black in Colorado.
Yeah.
Dave Roberts, your bench coach in LA.
And Torey Lovullo, who's in the NLCS right now.
And by the way, a lot of these organizations doubled down on managers even when things weren't going well. Buddy Black, Lovullo, who right now is a game away from a World Series if they hold on in Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the Padres are always, it's like Peter Seidler said, I believe in stability, but everything is constantly changing other than AJ Preller. Is that stability?
It's the opposite of stability here. If his definition of stability is constant change, then yeah, it's very stable here. It's like the most stable organization in all sports because there's always change. There's always dysfunction. There's always problems.
Other than AJ. AJ stays.
He is the only constant here. And that's why it blows my mind when I see people bowing down to him and failing to see, like, he is the problem. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Now, I do think a lot of people and a lot of fans are sick and tired of AJ. And maybe it's just a small minority, and I hope it's a small minority. That's just the loudest, the most annoying part. But if you truly don't think AJ is the problem, I don't know what to tell you anymore other than look at this situation. And if you still look at this situation and don't think AJ is the problem, again, I don't know what else to tell you.
We went into this offseason saying questions everywhere, Soto's future, payroll, team that was 11 games under 500 in September that somehow miraculously got to 82 and 80. And now there's even more questions. I mean, huge questions. It's going to be Machado's fourth manager since joining the Padres. It's Tatis's fourth. He's 24. He's played like one full season. It's his fourth manager.
Will Soto return?
Yeah, you can't tell me that this is productive and good.
No.
Now, I hope they hire the right person, and I hope that person leads this team to a better year than they just had in 2023. And it's all possible. It's sports. Who saw Arizona a win away from a World Series? Things can happen. The Rangers, even with Bruce Bochy, who saw it realistically, a game away from World Series. That was probably wishful heading into the year. So
it was more believable than not. To an extent.
Maybe. I mean, 69 wins last year.
Yeah. First year.
That's I'm saying. So it's possible. It's just, do we have faith in it?
Yeah.
That they're going to get this thing right and they're going to be better off without Bob Melvin in 2024?
And to the point of Justin in the chat, which is what I see a lot of, and people are constantly messaging me and tweeting at me about it. Well, look what AJ's done with this franchise. He's made them relevant again. He's brought in all this talent. Where would this team be without AJ? AJ has done his job. It's the manager's fault. Look at all this stuff. He signed all these players that we could have never been able to sign in past. I would tell you, has he won anything?
Fair, but no, and I always say
no.
Nobody has in the history of the franchise.
But that's not okay. I get what you're saying there. But that's not the point.
He hasn't done worse and there's some accomplished.
I'm talking about just AJ, and I understand that. At least in the past, They've been to World Series.
Okay, you're right.
They've won division titles.
There's been GMs to get them a step further. You're 100% right.
He's not done any of that. And the only guy that has had the only 2 winning seasons under AJ Preller, you kicked him out of the door because you can't get along with him. And they're going to spin it like he didn't, but don't get this twisted. This is a situation where the forcing of Melvin out of the door was a very easy one for them.
Well, it played into
the Giants,
it played into their hands. They were just waiting for San Francisco to call. By not extending him out, they were waiting for San Francisco to call.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. All right, Jeff Smith is going to join us. He is the president of the Mesa Foundation. They have a huge event coming up Thursday that is sold out. We're actually going to be there talking to some Aztec coaches and players. The Mesa Foundation is now an official collective of San Diego State. What does that mean? How important are collectives for the future of San Diego State basketball and football? Plus, Annie Heilbrunn will join us at 5. Also, still to come this hour, we have those tickets we're going to give away for the Vets Aid Concert, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Jeff Smith, president of the Mesa Foundation, will join us next. So I think it was recently in Jim's back page where he told us San Diego is now officially the most expensive place to live in San Diego. So I know you need cash to pay off those credit cards or do a home improvement. San Diego is the most expensive place to live in America, not in San Diego. So I know you need cash to pay off credit cards or do a home improvement. I'm so excited to continue telling you about Loan Pronto. They are here with this unbelievable program. It's a revolutionary express equity line of credit. It's an amazing program. You can get cash out of your home in as fast as 5 days, and you can leave your 3% mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can pull $50, $100, even $200,000 out of that record high home value of yours. That's money you can use to pay off those credit cards with those crazy rates of 25% or more, or use the money. You can do a home improvement. Best part, 9 out of 10 homeowners won't need an appraisal. The fact is this: rates are too high to move to a new home, but you can still use your existing equity by converting it into cash. You can be credit card debt free. It's your money. You just need an easy way to get it. Call now. See how easy it is to get tons of cash in about 5 days with Loan Pronto's Express Equity Line of Credit. Write this number down, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336, 619-207-4336, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
This update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports, NLCS game number 6 in Philadelphia, with the Phillies leading the series 3-2. D-backs lead 5-1 in the bottom of the 7th inning as they try to force a game 7, which will be tomorrow night. And tonight, game 7 in the American League Championship Series between the Rangers and the Astros in Houston. Obviously, winner moves on to the World Series. Jim Fax. And NBA news of the day. Monday Night Football, 5:15 kickoff in Minnesota between the Vikings and the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey will play tonight for the 49ers. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with Code Sports, because life's more fun when you're on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
2 weeks from tonight, San Diego State's basketball opener at Viejas against Cal State Fullerton. You can hear it on San Diego Sports 760. Jeff Smith is back with us right now. He's the president of the Mesa Foundation. They're doing great work in a collective involving San Diego State. In fact, today, San Diego State announcing an official partnership with the Mesa Foundation, with Mesa becoming the first collective of San Diego State. So Jeff Smith back with us here. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Jeff, first of all, great to see you this weekend. Secondly, tell us about this announcement today, and what does it mean for your foundation?
Well, thanks for having me back on, guys. Really appreciate it. That means we're talking about basketball, and that means it's Aztec basketball season. So those are all great things. We are really excited about the partnership and the announcement from the athletic department. It means quite a bit. I think most importantly, it means that San Diego State has recognized how important having a successful NIL partner is. As I've mentioned before, I think in some of the conversations we've had, John, that they've taken a real measured approach to NIL, and I think I understand why it is a big subject and one that not a lot of folks, have a real good feel for what it means to them, including athletic departments. With the endorsement, what they're saying is it's a high priority, and they understand how much it folds into all of the things that an athletic department has to make sure are successful. They can't do it themselves. That's the rule of the NCAA, but they can do what they're doing now, and that's to make sure that the public and the Aztec community understands the high priority of making sure that this is successful, so that the basketball team can hopefully do what they did last year, or do what they've done in years previous to that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Jeff, with a year already under your belt here, what's the focus heading into year number 2 for you guys?
It's awareness. It's a lot like, I think, the commentary that comes with the endorsement from San Diego State speaks to what year 2 and our priority is. It's about having more and more folks understand that the community supports San Diego State basketball. The number of stories that you guys have heard and that I've heard of the watch parties and the love that was going around San Diego during the run to Houston are great stories, and that's San Diego, and I think that's the Aztec basketball community. But for us, what we got to make sure is that people understand that it doesn't continue in that direction without the community supporting it. And that's not just saying we like Mesa and we like the version that Mesa is doing, community-based, really amazing partnerships with organizations like Camp Pendleton, the San Diego Blood Bank, and San Diego Food Bank, and others. But that's active involvement, and that means financially getting involved and benefiting from that involvement. I think that's an important focus for us, John, is, we want to make sure that people understand that we all have to help. It's a conscious decision if you're a fan, if you're an Aztec basketball fan, but you do get something. And we're really trying to pump that part of what we do up and emphasize that piece, and that's these exclusive fan experience opportunities that we're able to offer now that that wall student athletes and fans of college sports has been whittled away to some extent.
To your point, Jeff, I'm at the website right now, mesafoundation.org, if you want to support this collective and in turn support San Diego State basketball. At a price point of $50 a month, you're going to get an invitation to attend a men's basketball practice. if you become a member of this Mesa Foundation collective. So affordable opportunities with great access, including to attend San Diego State men's basketball practice at Viejas Arena at a price point of $50 a month. Now, Jeff, on Thursday, we're going to be out at this event you guys have coming up. It's going to recognize last year's Final Four team. This is a sold-out event. Tell us a little bit about, and this again is sold out, but tell us about what's going on Thursday involving the Mesa Foundation and San Diego State men's basketball.
Yeah, and another one of these things that we're really, really happy with where it what it means in terms of the relationship between San Diego State and Mesa and what we're doing. It's a ring ceremony for the folks that were at the football game several weeks ago. The players all received their Final Four rings, but they're doing a special ring for the entirety of the season that was designed by the basketball players and the basketball coaches. And that ring is going to be awarded this Thursday night, an event that we're putting on. We call it the Top of the Key. We're going to do one of these events every year. We're able to bring together the Aztecs family, the players, the coaches, their families, the athletic department, the administration, the folks that have supported Mesa Foundation, and some pretty well-known folks in the community. I don't want to spoil anything. I know you're going to be there on Thursday. We've got some folks that are going to show up and speak even further to the support of the Aztecs basketball program and what that means for the community, for people that folks recognize that being a part of Mesa and showing up on Thursday is a big deal for us, and we're excited about it.
And Jeff, if people want to support this collective, what's the best way to do that?
The best way is to go on our website. That's www.mesafoundationsd.org. We have membership opportunities. We have donation opportunities. You spoke to some of the things that we're able to offer. We have monthly memorabilia drawings. We have monthly video interviews with some of the players. There's access and events like the U Club event. We had a really cool event back at the Del Mar racetrack. It was Aztec Day at the races, where some of the folks that have participated in supporting Mesa were able to really hang out with the players and the coaches and enjoy a day at Del Mar. And Thursday is going to be an even different version, a heightened version of that. And we've got others planned throughout the year. So when you go on the website, you get something for it, support your team, and you really become a bit more involved. If you love the Aztecs now, you join Mesa and you get this inside experience and exposure to the players, to the coaches, and we've had nothing but great responses about that. And as I said earlier, it's something that we're emphasizing in a big way, that we want people who are making decisions on how they spend their time and their dollars for Aztec fans. Spend just a little bit to support this NIL program, and they're going to feel like an even bigger part of the team and the family.
Jeff, congratulations on today's official announcement, that partnership with San Diego State becoming the first official collective of San Diego State. And again, 100%, if you go to MesaFoundationSD.org, an important note, 100% of net proceeds go directly to San Diego State student athletes for NIL activities. Jeff, appreciate you taking a few minutes for us. We will see you Thursday for this Top of the Key event. We're looking forward to it. And thanks for your time, as always, here on Jon and Jim.
We'll see you then, guys. Thanks so much.
Look forward to it. Jeff Smith, again, the president of the Mesa Foundation. We've talked about this before. It's important. I mean, it is very important. San Diego State men's basketball coming off a national championship game appearance. At the end of the day, name, image, and likeness matters in high-level Division I sports, football, and basketball. And that's why you're seeing collectives like Mesa, like Aztec Link with our buddy J.R. Tolver on the March to Kickoff. It's important if you're into San Diego State athletics to support collectives. So thank you, Jeff.
Kind of not everything in college athletics now, but
it's a lot.
It's pretty close. Like if you want to do the pie chart and do how much NIL matters, it's a huge chunk of that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that chart. I agree with you. It's a big part of what's going on right now in college athletics. All right, we need two callers. Annie Heilbrunn's going to join us at 5 p.m. But coming up next, we are giving away 2 free tickets to see Vets Aid, the Vets Aid concert. This is at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Jeff Lynn's ELO, the War on Drugs, the Flaming Lips, and more. Call 844-570-1360 if you want 2 free tickets to that. First 2 callers will be our contestants for Trainwreck Radio. That's trivia. 2 free tickets to the Vets 8 concert, November 12th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. The number to call, 844-570-1360. Call right now if you want those 2 free tickets, 844-570-1360. Plus, Annie Heilbrunn from the UT will join us at 5. Stay with us. Trainwreck Radio next. Annie Heilbrunn from the UT, also from the San Diego Sports Association. She'll join us coming up at 5 p.m. Stay with us. All right, Andy Heilbrunn, UT, San Diego Sports Association, coming up 5 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760. Her thoughts on everything that's transpired this October, from Melvin's going to be back to just kidding. So Andy Heilbrunn will join us coming up.
Just kidding.
At 5 p.m. Man, you think about this weekend. Friday night, San Diego FC official. Yeah. Sunday night, San Diego Loyal, now defunct.
Saturday, we
Aztecs. Talked about Aztecs already. Sunday, Dennis and Andrew Baggerly dropping the note that Bob Melvin is out, essentially. The whole interview with the Giants.
What a banner weekend for San Diego sports.
Right. Well, exactly. It's not like winning World Series and
you get and by the way, this started on Thursday last week.
What happened Thursday?
The leaking of the San Diego FC logo crest.
Yep.
And it getting absolutely destroyed.
Do you feel like since Thursday, when it got destroyed on social media, to today, they've been able to get some of the public, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean? Like, has it changed a little bit? Is there less attention towards it? Are people more understanding of the logo now that they've seen it and heard about it since Thursday? I think to some extent.
To some extent? There was a picture of the logo that came out on Friday that I thought looked much cleaner.
The patchwork.
Like it was like a 3D emblem of the logo. I'm like, okay,
raised
that
logo.
looks much better. Still don't particularly like it, and still don't think it screams San Diego or says San Diego at all, even though they can tell you whatever they want. But it looked better. Some of the merchandise, I was like, I don't know about that. But
of course, it is like the first run of merchandise.
You have 2 years, or really a year and a half of a buildup that you can try to get people on board. I thought it was a really bad first impression, but again, you got 2 years, you got a year and a half to recover, and hopefully they do.
Let's see what the kits, the uniforms look like. Let's see what some of the future alternate logos look like. Let's see what the merchandise moving forward looks like. There's a lot more that goes into this than just a logo.
What is the team? Is the team going to perform?
Sure, right. I'd prefer by a good team to a good logo.
Yeah, because the Wave, they're doing it right. They got Alex Morgan,
a good team and a good logo.
And they're the best team in the NWSL.
Yeah, just do that. Just be the best team in Major League Soccer. It's easy. All right, Andy Heilbrunn's going to join us at 5 p.m. right now. Let's play.
Three questions, two contestants, one lifeline. Today's two contestants, we have Tommy and Mike. Tommy, you called in first. You have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
Give me John, please.
All right, Tommy. You get John. Mike, you get me, all right?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, perfect. Brent, what is today's question of the day?
All right, today's question. I want you to name any of the 6 active Major League managers with 1,000 or more career wins. And this does include any manager that managed in 2023. That includes this year. So we're looking for the 6 active Major League managers with 1,000 wins or more.
All right. Mike, you're up first. What is your first guess, Mike? And you do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Bruce Bochy.
Bruce Bochy. Pretty safe.
Does he have 1,000 now?
He has he has a couple thousand.
Okay.
Right? Does he have a couple thousand?
Yes.
Okay. Tommy, you're up next. What's your first guess, Tommy? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's go with our local guy, Bob the Knob Melvin.
Oh, Bob. Well, not local for much longer, but good guess. Mike, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Buck Showalter.
Buck Showalter on the list. Tommy, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm a tequila guy, so let's go with Tito Francona.
Terry Francona.
Good guess.
Yes, good job. Mike, final guess here. What do you got? You do have your lifeline still if you want to use it.
Oh, I'm going to go lifeline on this one.
All right. I will go with the other manager in a Game 7 tonight for the Houston Astros, and that is Dusty Baker.
I'll take it, Dusty Baker. That's a yes.
On the list. All right, Tommy, you need this to send this to overtime. You do have your lifeline still. What is your final guess?
Give me that lifeline, please.
Okay. Based on tenure, I'm going to go with the former Padres manager, Bud Black.
So many former Padres managers out there. You take that?
I don't know if he's got
Tommy?
1,000.
You take that, Tommy?
He's got a lot.
For sure, Bud Black.
Buddy
Yeah.
Black.
Boom.
On the list. Now we're going to overtime. Brent, give us the rules of overtime here, and then give us the overtime question.
How overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you a question. When I'm done asking the question, you're going to yell out the name of your partner today, either John or Jim. Don't yell out the answer. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you're going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys got it?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, today's overtime question. Who is hosting Game 7 of the ALCS tonight?
John.
I heard John.
All right, Tommy, what do you got?
Oh, I didn't say that. I think Mike said that.
So Mike said John. All right, so Mike, you're up. That counts. Mike, what do you got?
So what team is hosting
The ALCS tonight.
ALCS tonight? Houston.
That is correct. Mike, you got it. Team Jim, even though he said John, he buzzed in first, even if he said the wrong name.
Okay.
What's fair is fair.
Yeah.
He buzzed in. He got it right. And he's winning.
And good on good on
Tommy.
Good on Tommy.
For being like, that wasn't me.
I didn't say anybody's name.
That was Mike.
It was Mike, dude.
So we named the 6 active managers, right? That was everyone that has 1,000 career wins,
Had to
right,
have been
Brett?
because we got everyone right.
It was 6? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations to Tommy. You have won a pair of tickets to Vets Aid, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, November 12th. Make sure you're there. Joe Walsh presents an all-star lineup. Jeff Lynn's ELO, The War on Drugs, The Flaming Lips, special guest Stephen Stills. More info and tickets at Ticketmaster.com. We'll have tickets for you throughout the course of the week.
You know what's crazy about this list? 50% of this list were managers that were driven out of town by the Padres organization.
All right, so Boch, Buddy,
and Bob.
Yeah, good point.
3 of the 6 winningest managers actively in today's game were
driven out of town.
Said, you know what? We don't want you here anymore by Padres. Well, 2 of them by Preller, Buddy and Bob. And then the other one wasn't, but still, my point remains.
Well, maybe they're about to hire another 1,000 win manager.
Just hire Buck Showalter, and then you can, run him out of town in a couple years.
Well, what about Manny's relationship with Buck? You think he gets an interview? On the other side, Annie Heilbrunn, Union Tribune. She will join us coming up next. We'll talk about the news of the weekend. Bob Melvin ticketed for the Bay Area again or not? Annie Heilbrunn, she will join us next to kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings. NLCS game number 6 in Philadelphia. Phillies needing to win to head to the World Series. D-backs looking to force a game 7. We're in the top of the 9th inning. Fans are already leaving in Philly because they're trailing the D-backs 5-1. Looks like game 7 will be tomorrow night. There is also a game 7 tonight in Houston between the Rangers and the Astros. Of course, winner moves on to the World Series. NBA news of the day: Giannis signed a 3-year maxed extension with the Milwaukee Bucks. And Monday Night Football tonight in Minnesota. Kickoff's about 15 minutes from now between the 49ers and the Vikings. Christian McCaffrey is expected and will play in tonight's game. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim. We're with you until 6 o'clock here tonight. Annie Heilbrunn's going to join us momentarily. We have Jim's back page ahead as well, an Aztec Rewind for you coming up later this hour. But Annie Heilbrunn back with us here on Jon and Jim. Of course, there's a lot to get into. And Andy's with us right now from the UT and from the San Diego Sports Association. Yeah, I was just saying, Annie, there's a lot to talk about. Believe it or not,
it was a quiet weekend.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So Annie's back with us here from the UT, San Diego Sports Association. So were you surprised by this, Annie? I mean, we heard AJ say a couple of weeks ago, hey, Bob's going to be back. We heard Bob, we didn't hear from him, but we saw he was quoted by the AP, hey, I'm going to be back. And now here we are, where it looks like Bob Melvin is ticketed back for the Bay Area. So are you surprised by this or not?
I am not surprised. I have a feeling you guys aren't surprised either.
Nope.
I feel like there was a time when I was first getting into this business when I was like, well, what do you mean? He said such and such, and like thinking that was the truth. And then that time went away very quickly when I realized, and this is a fun teachable. Organizations are kind of like, it's kind of like politics. There's straight out lying. Sometimes there's like convenient truths, which is kind of what this was. Like, yes, he's still employed. Bob Melvin's still part of the Padres. He's expected to be their coach going forward until he's not. And I think that there's a lot of reasons that they might do that. They might not want to stir up, a lot of controversy before, fans have to put down, money for season tickets. They might not know whether Bob Melvin is or isn't coming back or what they're going to do. So they're going to kind of skirt around that. And they might not think it's a good idea to air dirty laundry, which all is understandable if you think about it in a lot of ways. But if you listen to that press conference and you kind of watched and read between the lines, this was always how it was going to go. And, I'm disappointed, honestly, because there was a lot of credible reporting. And I know that there was anonymous sources and things like that, but credible reporting. And I was never, thinking that it was going to be embraced by the organization. But I think that they also know that it was true. And anybody who was around it knows it was true. And so this is kind of, the result of that, honestly. And if that job hadn't opened up with San Francisco, I honestly don't know what might happen. But this kind of allows for, if Bob is going to leave, it allows for Bob to leave. It allows for them not to have to fire Bob. It allows for just a lot of different things to sort of maybe fall into place if you just weren't sure were going to happen. But it's not a great situation. I really feel like it's not a great situation for anyone. I mean, these are two grown men who have a lot to add to this, to this baseball world or whatever. And it's just not good that it just couldn't work, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, it makes perfect sense. I completely agree with you. The discrediting of credible reporting was pretty laughable, and it divided a lot of fans, and it just was
Right.
it was just a horrible look on AJ and the franchise, and even Bob for
Yeah.
kind of going on the route of discrediting anonymous sources when it's like, come on, Bob, really give me a break. But for you here, Annie, people are going to be looking at this like, who do I blame for this? Like, I know that the Bob lovers are going to be blaming AJ. I know the AJ lovers are going to be blaming Bob. But for you, who do you think the most blame should go on for this situation getting to this point?
I mean, I think there's blame to go around, like you said. I think, it's hard. It's just hard. And look, none of us know. I mean, when you're in there with AJ Preller and the front office, and I know that they work really hard at their jobs and they care deeply about the organization and things like that. But it's just harder optics wise to look at the history that's gone on with the hiring of managers, and just kind of the mixed messages that have come out of that group. Even this last year with this consistency, is that the answer? Now we're not going to have consistency. So what is the answer? So you know what I mean? Like there's just been a lot of different messages and a lot of different things that we've heard over the years regarding the working relationship with the general manager or the president of baseball operations. And so I don't know. I'm not going to say blame because again, like I don't know that job and everything it all entails, but I do think like it's optically harder to I guess like be like, well, wait, Bob's leaving and or whatever, but what about AJ's role in this? But at the same time, Bob had a role in it too, and I think that, I think, like I said, it could have worked out like maybe one way or another, but, and whose job is it to ultimately work things out? That's probably above the manager. That's probably higher than the manager to ultimately make something work, which could work. I mean, Bob is, Bob, it's not like Bob was a first year manager. Bob does have a pedigree, and I know people want to dismiss that, but you really shouldn't. He has a resume. He has a lot of people that have worked with him. I have been standing there on the field when guys like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts walk over and want to tell him how, they'd love to play for him one day, or they've heard, I mean, like, there's just like respect for this guy. And, I mean, not seriously, like, they're not like, but
Right.
just, they've heard, good things, whatever. Like, that's just what people do in this business. And when you're a manager long enough, you get that respect from players. You get that respect from players that aren't even on your team. And we don't know exactly what goes on in the clubhouse. And I'm not saying he did everything perfectly, and I'm sure that there were things he could improve on. But it is just a hard sell to be like, hey, that guy just didn't work with him, because it has worked for him in the past.
Annie Heilbrunn with us right now, Jon and Jim. Annie with the UT, of course, also the San Diego Sports Association with us here on San Diego Sports 760. So where do they turn from here, Annie? I mean, do they open this up to internal and external candidates, or is it likely that this will be an internal hire with Mike Schilt on staff, with Ryan Flaherty on staff? Where do the Padres go from here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you don't get to this point unless you're fairly certain that Bob is going to take that job, or they're going to offer him that job, because it'd be hard to come back now, right? Or I guess you could sell like, hey, that's, he has such ties to San Francisco, but it would be difficult, right? Like, we're like, let's not kid ourselves. So, assuming that he is gone, I do think that they would most likely seriously consider internal candidates. As much talk as we've heard about Ryan Flaherty, and I have no inside information, but my hunch is on Mike Schilt, and a few reasons why. I think, this is a guy who is not blind to the issues, because I think it might have been you guys that said earlier, the issues are not going to go away. Like, they're still, just because, Bob Melvin and AJ aren't working together anymore, or the front office or whatever it is, there's issues that are going to be in any organization with any new working relationship. So in the Giants there will be, in the Padres there will be, and so those issues are going to be there. So, but you have a guy there who has seen what's gone on, for better or worse, whatever his opinion is, over the last few years, and who knows what this clubhouse is like now, because this is a clubhouse that does have certain superstars, right? and who also kind of knows what he's getting, maybe getting into in that sense. And not that they're all bad or anything like that, but they're just, they all have their own way of doing things and whatnot. And also has had success, like not managed for as many years as Bob, certainly, but is not a first year manager. I believe he's got a good relationship with Peter. I believe he's got a good relationship with AJ. So I think that he's going to be looked at really seriously. He does want to manage again. He's got a great pedigree from his time in the Cardinals organization in terms of who he learned under. And he also is a more emotional guy. So now that could, I don't honestly don't know how this clubhouse will, it's hard to tell with this clubhouse what exactly they need, right? But he is more of kind of like a heart in the sleeve guy, a little bit more maybe emotion, forward showing emotion, but also just a lot of obviously skills in his job. So I think he's going to be taken seriously. I would not count out Ryan Flaherty. I mean, he's the name that we've heard, and then I wouldn't count out like someone that we're not even thinking of because this is AJ Preller, and who knows? Like we had Jace Tingler years ago. I don't think anyone saw that one coming, and so there could be someone definitely that we're not. I'm not even paying mind to right now.
Yeah, another managerial hire search underway. It's deja vu all over again here with the Padres. You mentioned the clubhouse. That was going to lead me to my next question about like we talked so much, and we've talked a lot today, and leading up to today, and leading up to yesterday when we found out Bob's going to interview with the Giants, that it's a Bob and AJ issue, right? It's so much of the issue between those two that this doesn't work, and they can't work it out, and one can't work with the other, and the other can't work with the other, mostly Bob with AJ. But does the clubhouse play a role into the soon departure? I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion of Bob. Was it all just the working relationship you believe with him and AJ, or do you think the clubhouse with the dynamic, personalities that they have in there that played also a role in this whole situation unfolding?
I think I get where you're going with that. I think that can be an issue. But I think that like a lot of managers would take the talent that is on the team, over, I guess, look, this is a more talented roster than the Giants. So I feel myself going that direction, but yeah, I think that the talent outweighs that in a lot of ways, because this isn't a 2015 roster or whatever year that was when it was a lot of superstars then, but they just didn't mesh. This is a clubhouse that does, for the most part, mesh. It just, like you said, like it has a lot of, there's quite a few people in there that have their own maybe way of doing things, I guess you could say, or their own strong opinions or whatever they bring into it. And it is a clubhouse that just didn't seem to bond to the point that we see some of these playoff teams, which does, it's like the chicken or the egg. A lot of this bonding that we see in these playoff teams is because they were winning, but you see them fight through things. And we really never saw that with the Padres this year, but we did see it last year. And we did see it, I guess, at the end of the season where they fought through and they kind of fought a little bit for each other. And that is more of a clubhouse thing, I think, than like a manager, or I think it's a construction thing. I think it's the construction of the clubhouse. But I think where I want to get to with that question is it's a problem when the people at the top don't see eye to eye. So it's a problem if it's just like, you're running to mom and you're telling mom one thing and then you hear from dad, no, that's not what we like. We want this. And now then it becomes a problem. And I'm not saying that these guys do that. Like a lot of them do not, like they're not talking to the front office every day. They're not talking but there's mixed messages coming in of like, this is what we would prefer. This is what we want versus, this is how Bob maybe likes to manage, or this is what this coach likes to do or whatever. And it falls on both of them. It falls on the manager. It falls on the GM. It falls on everybody being on the same page for the most part. Like you're always going to have, people that disagree and that's good, and that's not necessarily a thing that AJ is against or Bob is against, but you just kind of have to have that right recipe because there's always going to be, you can't, this day and age in baseball, it's not like the old days when the manager just, had carte blanche to do whatever he wanted. And the front office just did the, signings and things like that. Like there is now way more, interaction with the front office. So you've got to be able to make that work somehow. The question is how can they, and what's that recipe going to be? And is it going to appease the manager enough? Is it going to appease the front office enough? And are the players going to feel like they're being supported? Because the other thing to think about with that I heard when Jace Tingler was there, and I heard this from several players, was when you have a manager who is very close with the front office, well, now the players don't necessarily feel like they can trust the manager. So there's like this whole symbiotic thing. And you really have to find, it's never going to be perfect, but you have to find a good enough recipe where it works well enough. And then you've got to have good players who, let's face it, like these players, I don't think that they don't want it. I don't think that they're not working hard. But a lot of what we're seeing too, even with this, like say the Diamondbacks team, is like you're seeing a lot of like, you know, like hungrier, younger guys who have something to prove more maybe. And, you know, and there's just a better, and you still need the veteran guys, but there's just some kind of like a better recipe that I'm not paid enough. I don't know. I don't have enough expertise to know exactly, but we see it happening. You know, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't sell myself short.
Yeah, come on, Annie.
Bring me in, guys.
You could be the next manager of the San Diego Padres.
Fifth time's the charm. Annie Heilbrunn, the next manager of the Padres. Everything's perfect.
Annie, appreciate you doing it. As always, we love your perspective. It's always interesting times. I mean, even in October with Game 7s in Major League Baseball, we're talking about the Padres.
It's just getting started.
And potentially their manager search.
I look forward to talking to you guys again when, you know, our next iteration of this happens. Like you know, there's a new manager hire, whatever. So.
We will do it soon. Thank you, Annie.
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Annie Heilbrunn, again, UT San Diego Sports Association. A couple things have developed. The Texas Rangers in the top of the first inning have taken a 3-0 lead on the Astros in a winner-take-all Game 7.
This series has been insane.
So they're looking for a 7th consecutive road win in this series if it's the Rangers here tonight. So Houston has imploded here in the top of the first.
And this is what happened in the World Series a couple years ago with the Braves. With the Braves, right?
2021 World Series?
I forget what World Series it was, but I feel like there was a World Series recently with the Astros in it, and the road team won every game.
That's crazy. Yeah. All 7 games. So you have that, and then you have what happened just a moment ago in Philadelphia where the Diamondbacks beat the Phillies to force a Game 7. Listen to this. This will be the Phillies' first ever Game 7.
First?
They've been around since 1883. The Phillies tomorrow will play their first ever Game 7. The Diamondbacks will play their second. Remember the first? Yankees, World Series.
Jeez.
So Mariano. Okay. So this is rarefied stuff.
Wow.
Getting 2 Game 7s in one championship series. We are in rarefied air right now in Major League Baseball. But again, the Rangers, now they still need 27 outs, but 3 runs in the first inning is about a perfect start for the Rangers on the road tonight.
As perfect as you can get. And you got Max Scherzer on the mound.
We'll see if that's good or not.
Shaky. But you want somebody like Max Scherzer out there, even if he's been shaky a lot of times in this recent postseason history.
Right.
It's like, hey, would you want Clayton Kershaw on the mound for a Game 7? Yeah, it would just probably not go your way, but still, it's like I'd rather have Kershaw on the mound than some random nobody.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you're probably right. Just
probably
kidding.
not.
Probably not, actually. Same thing maybe with Max Scherzer, but I am all aboard the Bochy train. I have been, and it would be amazing if Texas could pull this off. It'd be incredible.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing. The Arizona Diamondbacks, who were left for dead, the Niners have taken a 7-0 lead.
No, they just had an interception.
Whatever.
Yeah.
The Arizona Diamondbacks, who were left for dead when they began a stretch of 7 games in 10 days against the Padres, are a win away from the World Series.
The
Arizona 84-win Diamondbacks, who were under 500 in August when they faced the Padres, but went 5-2 over those 7 games to basically resurrect their season. They can thank the Padres for that. Are a win away from the World Series. You could get an Arizona-Texas series.
I know.
An Arizona-Texas series. I mean, yes, the Phillies will be a favorite tomorrow. Make no mistake about that. But winner take all, anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen.
I think I would love to see a Phillies-Rangers World Series. But it would be like the mantra for the Arizona Diamondbacks this postseason is embrace the chaos.
Is it literally their mantra?
It's their hashtag. So like every team has a hashtag. Remember the Padres a couple years ago was take the cake.
Embrace the chaos?
Yeah.
What is it? Okay, because they're the 84 win team.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we're not supposed to be here. We won 84 games. We got in as barely as a 5 seed.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
They were the 5 seed or a 6 seed?
They're the 5 seed. The Marlins were the 6 seed.
Oh, that's right. They had the same number of wins, I think, at 84.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's compelling theater. It's compelling theater. And then you got Monday Night Football tonight. You've got Niners and Vikings in terms of what's going to be the rating winner. Surprise. It's this random week 7 game.
Shocker.
Between the Niners and the Vikings. It will not be the Rangers and the Astros.
That
It will not
sucks.
be the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. You can combine Phillies, Diamondbacks, Rangers, Astros. It won't touch this game. Won't touch it.
Like baseball. Come on, guys. Can we not schedule an LCS game on a Sunday or Monday night?
Well, how? You can skip multiple days and then you can skip Thursdays too. You can skip Sunday, Monday, and Thursday every week in the postseason. It's hard to do that, I think.
In today's world, if you have YouTube TV, you can just watch both games at once.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's fine.
I've been doing that.
Yeah, I've been doing that too. So you're not really, if you do that, you're not missing anything. But you would like to focus all your attention on like one particular game. And in particular, I think a game 7.
I got to go game 7.
Game 7, man.
Unless it's my team. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
I'm
if you're a
for
Niners
sure.
fan, if you're a Vikings fan, you're going to watch this game.
Right, yeah,
but
yeah.
if it's not your team and you're an NFL fan, a game 7, like, it's amazing theater.
Oh my God.
You could go years without a game 7.
I love game 7s.
So to
In
get
baseball.
yeah, exactly. To get now, it'll be interesting to see like how the Rangers manage a 3-0 lead, even with Scherzer. It's like you treat this thing like you do anything.
You're counting outs, man.
You could use relievers for 4 innings.
You're
We've
counting
seen that
outs.
before.
Like, give me outs. Give me outs. If you can get to the 5th inning, go bull. I mean,
You go to second inning.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use
Second
the bullpen
inning.
at any point.
yeah, it's like, hey, if you can only give me 4 outs tonight, that's all I care about. If 4 outs,
Right.
3 outs. Like maybe Nathan Eovaldi pulls a Bumgarner and it's like,
After pitching yesterday.
he's like,
right?
I can give you 2 outs tonight. Something like that. That's what I love about game 7 is that, especially in baseball, because it's all hands on deck. It's like you can have guys that pitched the day before be like, I'm ready to go. And that's what you love about that. You can't get that in basketball because there's no like bullpens or anything and pitching wise. Don't get it in football. No other sport. It's just baseball where everybody is ready to go. And I love it.
By the way, you're such an idiot.
What did I
You're
do?
convincing everyone like, no, they were the 5 seed. Arizona was the 6
was the
seed,
6.
as everyone
Oh,
knew.
I
Florida
thought-
was the 5.
How many did how many wins did
I'm looking
Miami
at the playoff
have?
bracket.
I mean,
right
84
now.
probably. But maybe a
Arizona was the
tiebreaker.
6. They
Oh
played
my-
the 3 Milwaukee.
You're so annoying. Do you want to leave? All right, here's what we're going to do. On the other side, Jim's back page is still ahead. He's
I can
watching the
instantly
Niners
tell what
and
he's
the
doing
Vikings.
because I look up at the baseball and nothing's going on, so I assume it's just Niners.
Exactly. On the other side, we're going to get your Aztec Rewind. San Diego State coming off that loss to Nevada. Can they recover in the midst of a bye week? We're looking ahead to San Diego State basketball as well. We've got Game 7. We've got Monday Night Football. We have Jim's back page. Do not go anywhere. It's Jon and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. I've been telling you all about our friends over at Windmill Farms. Really an amazing place. Just last week, I saw the owner Trevor over there. Seen his mom over there recently. I've been hearing about how they've been in the grocery business for decades. They love supporting local businesses. He's talking about companies like Mr. G Salsa, based right here in San Diego, delivers and stocks their amazing salsa every single week at Windmill Farms. They are the college area's natural grocer. They are family owned, and they've got amazing products to get ready for your weekends, whether you're tailgating or for your work week. I've been telling you about their deli where you can pick up a sandwich. Your 8th sandwich at Windmill Farms with the sandwich card is absolutely free, and they keep their prices incredibly low on those sandwiches during your work week, and they're using really high-quality ingredients. They take a ton of pride in that. They've got great produce and meats over there. Amazing craft beer selection, kombucha selection, the deli we've been telling you about. They're centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard across the freeway from Montezuma Mesa. And again, they've been family owned, serving the San Diego area for 20 years. By the way, you don't have to live or work near Del Cerro. You can find Windmill Farms on Instacart. Have your groceries delivered directly to your doorstep. Windmill Farms supports local businesses. You should support them. Shop at Windmill Farms or check them out at windmillfarms.com to see their weekly specials.
All right, this update's brought to you by DraftKings. We have a Game 7 in the NLCS as the D-backs beat Philadelphia 5-1. Game 7 tomorrow night in Philly. And we have a Game 7 happening right now in Houston. And the Rangers have jumped out to a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning there. And Monday Night Football underway in Minnesota. Scoreless game with 7:30 left in the first quarter between the Vikings and the 49ers. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're on the action or in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details.
You know, it's crazy because a year ago, the Padres they're playing in this round. It's the championship series. And now this year, you're watching 2 Game 7s play out, and the news locally is Bob Melvin interviewing with the San Francisco Giants. And how are the Padres going to pick up the pieces? Like, what a difference a year can make.
It's crazy. I don't think anybody thought last year at this time while they were still in the NLCS, like, hey, guess what? Next year, they're going to be looking for a new manager. That's crazy to me.
No, they definitely were not thinking that. And now the question is, you know, like, when's the next time we hear from AJ Preller? And when does San Francisco officially make this official? Okay, they've been granted the permission to interview him, which means he's taking the job. And then do we hear from AJ Preller about the process, or is it a secretive process that takes a period of time to play out? Or is it just, hey, Mike Shiltz, our next manager?
I'm going to go with Bob Melvin's hired by the Giants on Wednesday, because that's the next off day, because tomorrow there's a Game 7, so there won't be any signings or hirings tomorrow. Game 1 of the World Series starts when?
I don't know, Thursday or Friday? Friday, maybe?
Friday? Probably Friday. So you're not getting anything on Friday, obviously. And you're not getting anything during the World Series.
Friday.
Yeah, so I think Wednesday or Thursday is the day that you see Bob Melvin's hired as the new manager of the Giants. And then whenever the World Series is over, you'll get the Padres hiring either Flaherty or Schilt.
I hope they open it up. Back to our original conversation. This whole thing, you could argue who's at fault. It's playing out terribly. I mean, optically, it's awful. The fact that you said Bob Melvin was going to be back and now he's not going to be back. But knowing all of this, I think you got two options if you're Peter Seidler. I don't think he's going to go with the nuclear one, which has changed everything. Now that Melvin is out, it's given me this opportunity to change GM. I don't see that happening. But if that doesn't happen, at least look at all candidates. I said this earlier. You owe Padres fans the diligence necessary to get the right person. Just because you have someone in-house doesn't mean they're the perfect fit. They may be, by the way. It doesn't mean they're not the perfect fit. Mike Shildt and Ryan Flaherty, interview away. But you should interview others as well, assuming there are candidates, high-level candidates, that would be interested in the position. And that's maybe too much of an assumption.
I just sit here. I have no faith in Preller. I have none. Whatever manager he hires, it will probably be the wrong one, because that's his resume. He has not hired a manager yet that's the right manager. It hasn't been Pat Murphy, Andy Green, Dave Roberts for a game, Jace Tingler, and now Bob Melvin. So why should I think that whatever manager he hires next is going to be the right one? If the previous 4 or 5
touchdown Vikings.
You're saying, Jim? Keep going.
Jordan Addison. Boise State product? Maybe.
Fire AJ Preller.
Fire Kyle Shanahan.
Soon.
Right. Wow.
Season's over.
Season's over.
What are we doing?
By the way, USC.
Oh, great.
Good job. I don't know. Pitt. Oh, yeah. Pitt and USC. He's the guy that got millions in NIL. Transfer from Pitt to USC, Jordan Addison.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, 7-0 Vikings over the Niners here tonight. I'm with you on Preller. Like, I'll believe it when I see it on field if it works out. I'm like, yeah, they got the right guy, Mike Shildt. Yeah, they got the right guy, Ryan Flaherty. Yeah, they got the right guy, whomever. Whomever it is, you're going to say, we're going to need to see it.
Yeah. When they hired Bob Melvin, it felt like, finally, this is the right guy. Because it's really hard to discredit a guy with that many accolades and respect around the game, and you're like, this can't go wrong. How could this go wrong? Bob's the right guy. He has all the things that you were looking for in a manager, and then it went all to hell.
By the way, Max Scherzer staked to this large 3-0 lead in the first inning has also unraveled. He's going to get out of it, though.
He's not. Oh, John, you spoke too soon.
Well, whatever. 3-1, I could care less.
So
49ers season's over. It's fine.
I could also care less about
Sell
that.
the franchise.
3-1 Rangers through 1 in Houston. Winner goes to the World Series. Compelling.
Thanks, John.
Compelling.
Very compelling.
And then Vikings-Niners, winner gets nothing.
They get
there's no prize.
Not so compelling.
Right. But honestly, for the Niners who envision themselves as the best team in the NFC and are trying to get to a Super Bowl, when you look at Philadelphia with only 1 loss, Detroit now has 2 losses, right? Detroit's got 2 losses. It's an important game for San Francisco. It's also a big game for the Vikings. So we're trying to get to 3-4. A lot easier to dig out of 3-4, I would say, than 2-5.
Exactly.
Jim's facts.
What did you say?
All right, let's get to it. I talked about it earlier. It was not the defense's fault that San Diego State lost this game 6-0 to winless Nevada coming in. Shoot, Nevada didn't even have 250 yards. Nevada had 242 yards, but the Aztecs did not force a turnover. Brady Hoke talked postgame about that. San Diego State offensively, just 11 first downs. They were 0 for 10 on third down in this game. They had just 204 total yards. They had just 47 passing yards, and the Aztecs, who needed it, we said it earlier, it was a must-win in all likelihood to get to a bowl game. They didn't win it. They lost to winless Nevada in shutout fashion, 6-0 Saturday night at Snapdragon Stadium.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that's not easily the worst loss of Brady Hoke's tenure at San Diego State, and one of the worst losses. I mean, am I going on a limb?
You'd have to go back a while.
Am I saying it's one of the worst losses in program history? Because I don't think that'd be too far off.
Yeah, I don't have a list in front of me, but yeah, in the last 15 years, you're not going to find much like it.
Your favorite at home versus a winless team who gives up 510 yards of offense a game, who gives up almost 40 points a game, and you get shut out and you lose 6-0. Yeah, that's one of the more embarrassing losses in school history. It's hard to argue. I mean, I can't argue it. It's very hard for me to argue that, especially knowing that the last time they got shut out at home was 1976.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's not like you got shut out at home versus Michigan. You got shut out at home versus an 0-6 team who has lost 16 straight as a program, who gives up 500 plus yards of offense a game, who this year, Idaho scored 33 points against them.
Right. No, your point's all valid. I mean, that's why, listen, if you consume it the way we consume it, if you spend any time on social media, you see what people are saying. I mean, obviously, this nobody expected this. Even though the start to the season wasn't up to expectations for a lot of people, 3-4, you still saw a path. You beat Nevada, you're 4-4, and you can get to a bowl game. So what happened Saturday at Snapdragon Stadium was completely unexpected. And again, we talk about expectations all the time. With the Padres, Preller talked about it. Hey, the expectations are to get to the postseason. We embrace that. The expectations with San Diego State football are not just get to bowl games. It's to compete for conference titles. That's what they've been able to do by and large over the last 10 years. They put themselves in a position to vie for a conference title. That's not happening this year, obviously, at 1-3 in the Mountain West. And now they need to pull a rabbit out of the hat to get to a bowl game, which would be win 3 of the last 4 games, which is not going to be easy to do based on what we saw. If Saturday's an indication, obviously it's not going to be easy to win 3 of the next 4 games.
I don't see that. They're not a good football team. The program's regressing. It's not great right now.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. That's all Jim has to say. He's got to watch his Niners.
What else do you want me to say?
I don't know. Whatever you want to say.
I said what I want to say.
The opportunity.
I said what I want to say.
Okay. Jim said what he wanted to say.
You'll hear an awesome back page today.
Oh, it should be very good. It's going to be really,
make sure you tune in for that.
Really good back page. All right, coming up. By the way, your Aztec Rewind presented by Windmill Farms, the college area's natural grocer. They've got you covered for your game day needs, featuring organic farm fresh produce and meats, an amazing craft beer selection, a full deli with award-winning sandwiches, centrally located off Del Cerro Boulevard across from Montezuma Mesa. Windmill Farms is your family-owned market. Visit windmillfarmsmarket.com to see their weekly specials. Shop local. Shop at Windmill Farms. All right, we're going to get to Jim's back page in just a moment. Does someone want to weigh in here, Brent, or not? We're going to get to Jim's back page in a moment. We're keeping our eye on Monday Night Football, also on Game 7 of the ALCS between the Rangers and the Astros.
Astros are in their bullpen in the first inning. It's not a good sign in Game 7.
It's not a good sign. Does someone want to weigh in? All right. Michael wants to talk Aztecs. Michael, we got a moment. Thanks for calling in. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, how you guys doing? Hey, I'll be real quick, guys. Hey,
what's up?
I'll tell you what, man, that Aztec football, I don't know what Brady Hope's problem is. I mean, he said last year's 7-6 was a disappointing season. I don't think we're going to win 7 this year. I don't know. We need another new coach. I like Brady Hope, but I just don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Michael, appreciate the call. I mean, to get to 7 wins, you're going to be an underdog in 3 of your last 4 games.
They're not going to look. They're not making a coaching change in season. Not happening. Like you said, John, wait till the dust settles. Evaluate at the end of the year. I'm sure a lot of people have already made up their mind, and it's fine if they have.
Sure.
But wait till the end of the year, and if this season continues to go like it's been going, then you evaluate and you make a decision from there. But the way it's going is not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I think J.D. Wicker was quoted by Kirk Kenny, kind of paraphrasing. This was like a week ago, that we assess at the end of seasons, right? So at the end of the season, they'll assess the state of the program, and that's what they're going to do. All right, on the other side, we're going to get to Jim's back page. That's next. All right, Jim's back page coming up next. Stay with us. Be thankful, listeners, you never have to experience a Niners game with Jim ever in your entire life. He is a complete and utter nightmare. So the Niners just missed a field goal, a 40-yarder, after losing last week by missing a 40-yarder.
Yeah.
And Jim is literally losing his mind. It is 7-0 Vikings. They're in the second quarter. The Niners just missed a 40-yard field goal, had an easy completion for a first down that was dropped. And Jim is losing his mind.
You have to change kickers.
You have to change coaches is what you need to do.
No.
And general managers.
I mean, this is
this a John Lynch
This
issue?
is a completely self-serving take, but like you can't. No, this is it for a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. You can't have a kicking
That's
problem.
fine. If you miss a kick in the Super Bowl, it's fine.
Are you worried that you're going to be Kirk Cousins first
primetime win ever?
Probably at this point now.
He's 0-9 on Monday Night Football in his career.
Wow. Okay, maybe tonight's the night.
Probably will be.
All right, let's get to the back page since the game's at a break.
Wait, what are we doing?
It's way back today.
All right, so a bag of chips, Doritos chips, that only has 500 created, like packs created, are selling online for over $370.
What's the flavor?
Doritos released a coriander flavored packet of chips that were solely created for a giveaway that rather than be sold in stores.
What's coriander?
Like a spice.
Huh.
So yeah, look at
it's like cilantro.
It's like,
okay. Okay.
The chips brand was giving these away, but now people are taking them and selling them online for like $500
for a bag of chips.
For a bag of coriander Doritos.
I'm good.
I don't
no
know.
chance.
I don't know if I want to eat some coriander Doritos chips.
I don't even know what coriander.
I just told you it's cilantro.
Yeah, but I mean, I've never heard it before today.
I thought it was more like a.
I have.
like a
I looked up.
coriander,
They
like,
said it's
pepper. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. $500 for a bag of chips?
No.
Dude, give me a break. What are you gonna do? Eat the bag of chips? Like, oh, this is great. $500.
Oh man, best investment ever.
Best investment of all
I'm
time.
full.
I'll stick with the Cool Ranch flavors.
Vikings are driving.
Yeah, it's over.
Wow. This would be an embarrassment.
I hate you. You've mentioned it earlier today in one of your reads that, San Diego right now
is about to get the Niners as a new team.
Yeah.
After this.
It's pretty pricey to live here.
Very.
And by pretty pricey, I mean it's the value score here, which is like hard places, unaffordable like metro areas to live.
Excuse me?
Unaffordable metro areas to live in the country.
Yes.
San Diego tops the list.
Yes. So the number one most expensive city to live in currently in America.
It's ridiculous.
Don't you feel fortunate to be here?
Very fortunate.
With us?
Very fortunate. And a man in, where is this? Visalia? You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you go to a supermarket or you go to like a 7-Eleven, you get like scratch offs. You expect like the most money to win is like couple, maybe like $1,000.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be an
scratch
amazing
off.
scratch off.
Amazing.
You're like, oh my
Yes.
God, I just won $1,000.
Completely agree.
A man in Visalia won $10 million off a
Scratch off?
Off a scratch off.
Do you know, like, was it one of those like $50 or $20 scratch offs?
I guarantee it was a $20.
20. And was the grand prize like, hey, someone's going to win $10 million? That's like the greatest scratch off ever.
Is this the same one where the dude just let the clerk pick it?
Yep.
Okay.
I'd let the clerk pick it, and the grand prize was $10 million off a freaking scratch off.
The reason I'm laughing, they just showed Moody, the Niners kicker pregame.
Did he miss like a field?
He was like falling down and like missing kicks.
You know, it's really windy in that dome.
Okay,
They've got a kicking problem. The Niners have a kicking problem, and
Yeah.
Jim's not going to be able to sleep tonight.
I'm not. This is ridiculous. Cut him. He's officially a problem now. Cut him. Robbie Gold.
Come
sign
on
him
back.
up. It's great. Now they're like, now Drake Greenlaw's hurt. I'm done. The season's over. Start over again. Trade everybody. Purdy's a bust. Moody sucks. Nobody cares.
Was that your back page?
Yeah, that was it.
That's pretty good.
I know.
$10 million. Someone won a $10 million lotto ticket, and hey, here's $500 worth of Doritos in a green bag. It's a flavor we've never heard of.
It's coriander. You're welcome.
I like it. We'll be back tomorrow with much more.
Maybe.
Tomorrow, we're not going to your point, we're not going to get the Bob Melvin officially official because we got a game 7 tomorrow.
Yep.
So you're not getting that tomorrow.
No.
With Phillies Diamondbacks. Meanwhile, the Rangers are leading 3-1 into the 3rd inning. Winners going to the World Series, Jim. All right, if you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify. You can find us on YouTube. Search Jon and Jim 760.
Freaking
Niners
tackle?
defense is getting gashed
They're
right
getting
now
killed.
by the Minnesota Vikings. Find
Kirk
us on
Cousins
social
gonna have
media.
the greatest night of his life.
Find us on social at Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow at 3. Much more of this for Brent and Crazy Jim. I'm Jon. Keep it here. It's San Diego Sports 760.
Tackle.
Pray for Jim. Oh, gosh.